Well, the summer transfer window is over. We made a couple of moves. We lost a key player I wanted to keep. And as a whole, I think the team is about the same in terms of strength. The problem is a couple of older players I was relying on to be big contributors this year are not as good this year as they were last year. And that is really concerning. We've had our European Cup draw. We'll take a look at that as well. A review of the summer transfer schedule, and that'll probably be the episode. It could be fairly long. We had quite a bit of movement. My name's FM19, and this is the Return Gloria with SC Bastia, episode 49. Well, if anything, this season has gotten off to the start I thought last season would get off to, but we're going to review that here in just a minute. This is the transfers, and yeah, there is a big name that went out, and frankly, I just couldn't stop it. On the outs, Patulidis, Maltese, Abdouali Sow, Tom Blanchard, Radouine Ben Tayeb, Frank Diallo, Owen Charpentier, Ante Knezovic, and Gail Trinad all left on loans. Mathis Leroy went on a free to Chavez. They signed him in February of last year, and I chose not to renew his contract. Mario DeMarco, who was a right back who just never got any better, no matter how much playing time he got on the reserves or the under-19s, went to Alto Adige for 15,000 euros, going up to 28,000 based on appearances. Jean-Marc Parent went to Karlsruhe for 235,000 euros. They made an unsolicited offer for him. He was really interested in talking to him. And, I'm not going to keep players on my squad who don't want to be here. Safo Mbaye went to Palermo. I wanted to get my younger defensive center backs some more playing time, and the best way I could ensure that would happen is to get one of my other center backs out, and Safo Mbaye left. Liverpool came in for Amara Bazamble, and they offered 18 million straight up for him, and he really, really wanted to go. I asked what it would take to keep him here, and he said nothing, essentially. Liverpool was too good an offer to pass up. Football was going to be too good for him to pass up. So I went back. Liverpool made their offer, made the similar offer, but it's 16 million euros straight up, going to 21.5 million euros based on appearances. Bazamble is an under 21 for France, so he should be fulfilling those, no problem. He's starting in the reserve squad because who is their current keeper? I knew this. Jan Oblak is their current keeper, but he is also 31 years old. They're planning for the future, and why not? For the released players, no real surprises there, I think. Abdelkrim Khalaf and Baptiste Petroni were youth players. Fod Kamara had a decent season for us, then had better options, and he just didn't get any playing time here. Thomas Callens left because he wanted more playing time. Jordan Tell is Jordan Tell. I brought him in as a backup, and he demanded first-team playing time. I said, you're a backup. And he said, I want first-team playing time. And I gave him first-team playing time, and he was absolute crap. And he left. Jackie Valero left. He was a young striker who he's never going to be League One material. And then Charles Marie Tomi Bastiani, who at one point in time held the record for most hyphens on the squad, left as well. He just wasn't getting any better either. On the ends, a little bit of activity. I think we got some very good deals here as well. And you'll see a lot of signings on the 2nd. That is the day the transfer window closed. That is the day all these guys decided, yeah, we'll take your offer. For whatever reason, in my particular save, this Bastia save, Portugal is a hotbed of football talent, more so than I've ever seen in the past. Even with countries like Brazil and Argentina loaded back in the day, Portugal still had some. Now, I don't have Brazil or Argentina loaded now. It's possible I may add those leagues in later, but there are a ton of really good players coming out of Portugal, to the point where almost half my team seems as Portuguese. And probably 3/4 of the players I have on my short list are Portuguese. But the first player in, Mateus from Meritomo. 3-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, 20-year-old defensive midfielder, can also play center mid. Pretty good physicals, except for the jumping reach. The mentals are nice where they count. The technicals, they're solid where they count. The first touch at 12 is nice, as is the marking and tackling. The technique could use some work. I am training him on that. However, I think his vision, his work rate, and his teamwork, in addition to his decision-making, his aggression, anticipation, bravery, help make up for that. He steps in as Sotovia's backup, but Sotovia started the season injured, so he got a decent amount of playing time. He did okay. He's young. He'll get better. Alexander Grebenyuk is a defensive center back who can also play a little bit of midfielder and defensive right back. 18 years old. I needed players for my under-19 squad because they got themselves promoted back in the division they were relegated from last year. So playing my under-19 squad as the reserve squad this year is not going to work, and I didn't have a lot of depth there for a variety of reasons. But I needed good young players to help fill out the youth squad and possibly be first-team contributors in the future. He fits the bill. 1.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He's here on a youth contract. He could get better. He could get worse. We'll have to wait and see. At the end of the day, if he doesn't improve, if he never contributes to the team, I'm not going to say I'm okay with that. I'll be a little bit upset, but I'm fairly positive I can move him on for a little bit of money. Next in, Dejan Krkic. Defensive left back. I needed a backup to Brigado, and he wasn't exactly what I was looking for. 1.5-star current ability, 3-star potential ability. He's no better than Mathias Leroy, who left to Chavez. 19 years old, he's going to get stuck on the under-19 team. If he sees first-team playing time, it's because Brigado and, totally blanking on his name now, Resnick, are both injured. Kane Wilson was our big summer transfer window signee. Sasha, for whatever reason, I think it has to do with the quality of coaches and scouts that I brought in. But Sasha, for whatever reason, has just fallen. 2.5-star current ability, 3-star potential ability. At one point in time, he was 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability, and he's just... I don't think he's a full-time starter anymore. If he is, it means I've got injury problems somewhere else. He's 23 years old. He's not going to get appreciably better. I needed someone good at the defensive right back position, and Kane Wilson was the best player out there. 24 years old, 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability, solid all across the board. Doesn't excel in any one area, but he's not bad in any one area either. When a 10 balance is your worst physical trait, and an 8 leadership is your worst mental trait, and what do we got here? A 6 long shot is your worst technical trait? You're not doing too bad. Now, his marking of 9 is a little bit worrisome, and his tackling of 12 could be higher as well. The 10 determination is average, I think, for this level of football. But, like I said, it could be worse. He steps in right away as the starter at defensive right back. He's a very good wing back. He's a capable fullback. He could play complete wing back if I want to, but I don't know that I want to do that. I'm not real familiar with that role. I need to do a little bit more research into that before I do anything in that regards. But he has stepped in and been a fairly solid contributor this early in the season. With Bazamble leaving, I needed a keeper, and there weren't any good young keepers out there for the right price. And I didn't want to pull, frankly, another Bazamble and spend 3/4 of my transfer budget on one player. However, Lazio had Antonio Toliz out on loan, and he is a better keeper than Bazamble is. And I was really kind of scared they weren't going to loan him to us, but we're paying his salary, which I am okay with. And in return, we get a keeper who is 4-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, plays a really good sweeper keeper, and is just very, very solid across the board. The only thing that does bother me is his first touch and rushing out are a bit low. I would think for a sweeper keeper, you think he'd have a better rushing out, but maybe that's why he's a sweeper keeper defend as opposed to a sweeper keeper attack or support. But he has been really, really good for us. His value is only 3.9 million euros. If I can, I will try and get him from Lazio at the end of next year. His contract does expire in 2025. I tried getting a sell-on clause as part of the loan deal, and they turned it down. So we shall have to wait and see, but I really like him. Herman Sceptic is another young defensive midfielder who can also play midfield. I wanted a really good rotation going on. With Patulis leaving, Solovia was my only good defensive midfielder. I wanted guys who could contribute, if not right away, down the road. Sceptic is 2.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. Really nice physicals. The 17 strength is a very big plus. The mentals, they're solid. They can always improve, and as he's 19 years old, they should improve. The technicals, now they're a bit on the low side. They need improvement, but that's one of the things I'm working on. He will get plenty of time on the under 19s, and he should get the occasional start as well. Alfonso Souza. With Parent leaving, I needed some more depth on the midfield line, and a lot of the people I found actually are defensive midfielders who play midfield. I wanted someone who could play midfield and a couple other positions as well. Alfonso Souza was the best choice out there. 24-year-old, 3.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. Very solid player across the board. The physicals are very nice. The mentals are really good. The technicals, they're good where they count. And he has stepped in to become a very good midfielder for us. The price we got him at, he's been a very, very good pickup. And I expect him to be a contributor here for a couple years, if not more. Felix Gerber is a 20-year-old German defensive midfielder who can also play midfield. 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. He's here as backup for Sotavia. He will get the starts in front of Sceptic, but with the number of fixtures we have this year, he will get first-team playing time. As you can see, he's already made one appearance off the bench. But pretty solid player. The physicals, they're pretty good. The mentals, they're nice where they count. I wish the composure was a little bit higher, but I can definitely work on that. The technicals, they're okay. They could use some improvement, but then again, 20 years old. He can definitely get better, especially if he gets a decent amount of playing time, which he should get at the reserve level. He's already made 2 starts there. And we're relegated back down to the National 3. The reserve squad was. Let me double check that here real quick. No, no, we survived. We're in the National 2 against the likes of Montpellier, AS Monaco, Bordeaux, Olympique Lyon, Lille, Marseille, OGC Nice, and the Havre reserves, and the RC Lens reserves. So he'll be playing some quality people there. Clausio comes to us from Estoril for 50,000 euros. He was one of my signing day transfers. Midfielder, young, 19 years old, 2-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He has a lot of potential. I think with the right training and the right mentor group, he could become really, really good. He's solid right now as a 19-year-old. I don't know that I'd be comfortable starting him full-time, but I would definitely get him in as part of the rotation. Ryan Merlin comes to us on a free as well. Also a midfielder and defensive midfielder. 22 years old. He's here on a backup contract more than anything else. 2-star current ability, 3-star potential ability. He injured his hip. He's out for the next 2 to 3 months. He's here for depth. Was available on a free. His salary demands weren't atrocious. I like the fact that he's a very good midfielder in addition to defensive midfielder. He will be, once he's healthy, he should get a couple of starts on the first team, but he will definitely be a stalwart on the reserves. Jean-Charles Castellano, defensive center back. I needed some experience on the defensive center back line, if only as a mentor, and someone who could step in and play the occasional game time to time as a starter and not get completely run down. And Jean-Charles Castellano fit that bill pretty well. His salary demands weren't too atrocious. Solid player. 29 years old, 2.5-star current ability, 2.5-star potential ability, solid physicals, solid mentals. The technicals, they're good where they count. They're adequate. He's not going to wow by any stretch of the imagination, but I expect him to come in and get the occasional start, especially later in the season or when we have the fixture congestion, and be a solid contributor. Are my expectations too high? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Nicholas Dookudu, a 19-year-old defensive midfielder who can also play center back and defensive and midfielder rather. 1.5-star current ability, 2.5-star potential ability. He's here completely as depth for the reserve squad and the under-19s. This is my under-19 squad. As you can see, it is not all that much, especially when you take into consideration this is my reserve squad, and it's not all that much either. Actually, if I get rid of the guys who are out on loan, that's not a lot of depth. So I needed players who could play both the reserves and the under-19 matches and get a decent rotation going. And we shall have to see how that works out. João Lopez comes to us from Sporting on loan. I needed another attacking midfielder on the left because Quincy Menig, who finished last season at 3-star current, 3.5-star potential, I want to say, is now 2.5-star current, 3-star potential. I don't know if it's an age-related thing. Part of me says it's due to the fact that the quality of scouts and coaches I got in this offseason are better than the ones I had, including my assistant coach. So, João Lopez, I needed a left winger. He was the best available out there for loan. 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. Quick, speedy guy. Can't jump a lick because he's 5'2". I'm still trying to figure out that one jumping reach with the 7 heading. His mentals, they could use some help. He's solid where they count. The 14 determination is nice. The 12 flair is nice. The off the ball, the bravery is excellent. But everything else needs to be improved. The technicals, they could use some work. I'll be the first to admit that. He hasn't got any playing time here yet, but he will get playing time off the bench and the occasional start every once in a while. No. Go. And the neighborhood cat tormenting my dog again. Sorry about that. And then last but not least, Umberto Vittoria. I needed a young keeper because Florian Adriani and Jacques Neptune were my only 2 keepers other than Talise. Adriani is the reserve keeper. Neptune is the under-19 keeper. And I needed a backup who could come in and cover for either one. Vittoria was the best available, I think. 1-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. He's 19 years old. I'm not expecting a world beater by any stretch of the imagination. I'm expecting somebody who can come in and get some decent playing time for the under-19 squad or the reserve squad. If he starts for us, we are up a creek. So, that said, that is the transfer window roundup. Money-wise, we're doing pretty good. We've still got 14.8 million euros left in the transfer budget. We've got a 45,000 euro. We've got a 45,000 euro pad to play with in terms of payroll. That can always go up or down. Again, I've expanded the scouting budget because that's something I do. I don't like running out of money in December for scouting. It's just a complete pain in the. It's just a complete pain. We are a few weeks into the season. I like going until the summer transfer window is closed, so that way there's no surprises and I can do the transfer window all at the same time. We did have our Euro Cup draw, so that is a separate video. I recorded it last night when it took place. I was playing through, and we're going to take a look at that and then be back with our game. Actually, no, we're going to take a look at that, and then we'll take a look at the schedule and a couple other things. So, back in a bit. Well, the outfit's a little different because I'm recording this before I'm recording the first episode of the new season. But it is the Euro Cup group stage draw today. We are one of 12 teams that have been seeded 4th for the draw. Let's see where we stand. Who do we got here? Wow. Man United, Tottenham, Fiorentina, Sevilla, Olympiacos, and Sparta. Okay, you know what? We'll just draw. Okay, so it's down to the final teams that are seeded 4th. So the groups at the moment are Fiorentina, Slavia Prague, and FC SB, who are a Romanian team. Okay, I don't know them off. Steaua Bucharest, TSG Hoffenheim, Club Brugge, and Midtjylland are Group B. Spartak Moscow, Roma, Real San Sebastian, Group C. Lyon, Feyenoord, Sparta Prague are Group D, so we can't end up in there. Milan, Copenhagen, and Maribor are Group E. Group F, Man United, Krasnodar, Ludogorets. Group G, Sevilla, Anderlecht, Malmo. Group H, Sporting, Everton, and Standard. Group I, Olympiacos, Dinamo, and Nantes, so we can't end up there. Group J, Fenerbahce, Zenit, and Real Hespaz. Group K, Bayer, Basel, Legia. Group L, Tottenham, Beşiktaş, and Lokomotiv Moscow. I don't know that there's any groups of death in here. Maybe Milan with Copenhagen, possibly Group H, Sporting, Everton, and Standard. You know what? Let's see what happens. Trabzonspor is Group A. HJK is Group B. Partizan is Group C. Zrinski, Group D. OFI, Group E. Panathinaikos. Group F. Rosenborg, Group G. Zoria, Group H. ADO Den Haag, Group I. Grasshoppers, Group J. Group K is SC Heerenveen. So we are in Group L with Tottenham, Beşiktaş, and Lokomotiv Moscow. Okay, it's not the easiest group. It depends on how strong Beşiktaş is. Well, third place, so, they're a really strong team. Okay. And what was the other squad? Lokomotiv Moscow. Well, not too bad. We'll get the scouts looking at these guys here in a little bit. And we'll figure out where the schedule is going to put us. Because we've got PSG coming up. I figured, why not start the season with a bang? Let's take on one of the best teams in the world to see how we're doing this year. So the friendlies, they could have gone a little bit better. We played a really rotated side against Furiani Egliani, and they beat us 2-1. We have not gotten off to the best start in the league. We were home against Troyes, and we drew 1-1 thanks to a Lyle Foster goal. We were then away at Havre, and we drew with them 2-2 thanks to a goal by No and Alfonso Souza. Well, I think this is the game we had won. No, they scored in the 84th minute. The game against OM, I believe, was the game we had won, and Ferran Torres had a 92nd minute goal. We did a really good job of holding OM to the one goal. We had 10 shots, 4 on target. They had 14 shots, 8 on target. They had a slight possession advantage. Didn't really do anything for them. They had one Wardwork hit, but that was really just the ball kind of sort of hitting the post as it went wide. The team played a really solid game, and it was 3 minutes of extra time. They got a goal in the 92nd minute. It was annoying. I was playing for the draw. Once I realized we weren't going to be able to win, I was playing for the draw. And we got FM'd. And then we were away at Montpellier, and they just thumped us 2-0. 12 shots, 6 on target for them, 9 shots, 5 on target for us. I take that back. 9 shots, 5 on target for them, 12 shots, 6 on target for us. We had our chances. We just couldn't make the most of it. Bentieb had a couple of very nice saves. Their defense was absolutely on top of it. Zurkowski's goal didn't exactly open the floodgate, but after that, the team just seemed kind of timid and just didn't get a lot done. So what we're going to do, though, is we're going to end this episode here because, as you can see, coming up, we have PSG away and then Tottenham away in our Euro Cup group stages. So what better way to find out how well we're going to do this season than to play the best team in League One, if not all of Europe at the moment, and one of the better teams in the Premier League. Anything else before we end? No, not really. The only thing is with Knežević leaving, I'm not playing the 4-2-3-1. I'm playing the 4-3-3 a lot more. No has turned into a very good winger on the right side. He is quite the bully there against some of the central defenders and wingers who try and slow him up. I think this move will really work out for us. We'll have to see how the rest of the season works out. That said, I'd be interested in your feedback on the summer transfer window. Like I said, I don't know that we got any better. I think we may have gotten a little bit worse, but I think that's due to the players we already had here getting worse, not because of the players we brought in. I think Talise and Bazamble are a straight one-for-one swap. I think Wilson is definitely an upgrade over Sasha. We'll just have to see how the rest of the season goes. Right now, we are behind on the Kev ratio. We are sitting down in 17th place. 4 games played, 2 draws, 2 losses, a -3 goal differential. I changed skins again, so I've got to switch this stuff around here real quick. Lyle Foster, 2 goals. Armand, a 7.05 rating. Queensy, 2 assists. Mateus has the 2 yellow cards, and the dog is getting... It's a really nice summer day here in the Midwest, so people are walking their dogs. People who have cats are letting them roam. The squirrels are out in force, and my dog is losing his mind. So, in other news, Pep Guardiola took over PSG because Thomas Tuchel left to go to Real Madrid, I want to say. No, Valencia. He left PSG to go to Valencia? Okay, he left one of the best teams in Europe to go to the 4th best team in La Liga. Interesting move. So, Next up, Pep and PSG, followed by Tottenham away. Could be an interesting couple of games. So we're going to come back with that episode after this one. If you liked what you've seen and heard, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. Questions, criticisms, comments, leave those down below. I will answer them as fast as I can. My name is FM19, and I thank you for watching the Return of Gloria with SC Bastia.